Hi everybody, hi my Sweet Lifers. Today we're in the Sweet Life kitchen doing our show, Two Chef Show with
Sharing
Carl.
What we know, that's right.
And we are covered up, guys, in cucumbers. We are covered up in cucumbers.
Yes, you are.
That Sweet Life garden out there, my God in heaven, we have got so many jalapenos and cucumbers are really, and I wish I could take credit for these peppers, but they were the most gorgeous things. I ran across these at the market and I thought, you know what, we're going to be making my homemade relish with cucumbers and jalapenos, and I thought, gosh, what a beautiful jar that would be.
Those are the Anaheim? Which one?
These are just sweet peppers. They were grown in a greenhouse. They're new. I've not seen them actually before now. And I thought, oh my God, they're so gorgeous. We have to use them. And how beautiful will they be in our jars?
They're gonna pop.
So this is a refrigerator version. You guys that have been watching the channel for a long time know that I've got canned pickles that I do sweet and sour, or dill rather. And then I also have refrigerator recipes that are in the refrigerator with no extra processing. You just make it, pour the apple cider and sugar and salt over it with the spices, and then they just do what they need to do in the refrigerator. About a week in the refrigerator, then you can open them up, start to taste them, see if they're where you want them to be. The longer they're there, the better they'll be, and they'll last for about 3 months. So just to kind of give you a gauge on it. I love it though because we can put it on hot dogs and hamburgers and chicken salad, and there's so many ways to use this recipe, especially for the summer and during the months that we have all the cucumbers coming in from the garden. It's a great way to preserve a lot of that so that you don't let it go to waste. So anyway, we're going to get started. The first thing we want to do is I'm going to get you to go ahead and start working on the actual liquid that we're going to pour into the jars over the prepared vegetables.
Okay.
And so what that is it's a cup of sugar, and it's a half a cup of salt, and I've used a refined sea salt, so you want to put that in here, right? And then I'm going to do a cup and a half of white wine vinegar. Actually, we need to pull that off of there. It's brand new. And as I always do, I kind of know what looks like what it's supposed to look like.
Eyeballs it.
And so I'm going to do a little of what Nana would call a little dollop of this, and actually, you know what? I'm going to
go ahead and do the whole thing.
I'm going to use the whole bottle. Make a note of that, viewers. A whole bottle of white wine vinegar. Yeah. And then to that, I'm going to add cloves, which is about a tablespoon of cloves. And I'm going to add coriander. Now, a lot of people will say tie these up into like a little tea cloth and not let them be loose.
Yeah.
And I understand and respect that. But, you know, I grew up, maybe, I don't know if Mama, Granny, Nana, they just didn't do it that way. So all those spices floated around with the pickles. And sometimes whenever I grab a little bite of some cucumber, I would actually grab a little mustard seed, which is what's next.
Right.
It did not bother me growing up. And so that's just how I make it. So I'm going to keep making it the way I was raised to make it. So this goes on the stove, and if you will go ahead and, like we do our simple syrup, warm it up and get all of that sugar and salt into that vinegar completely dissolved. Okay. I'm going to leave you to do that. And then what I'm going to do, I've already, for us, made it easy. I have pre-chopped up 1 large purple onion, and 2, I have also, by the way, de-seeded the jalapenos, Carl. For this recipe.
I wanted to point that out. Notice that the jalapenos were done already.
They've already been done before he arrived. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to chop up these peppers. And I don't need to chop them up fully like we did over here. I'm going to add these in as the larger bits to the actual mixture. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually put these in, seeds as well, into our food processor. And I'm going to begin to get them all chopped up. I'm going to also do the same thing with the cucumbers. And so I've taken 3. You can take as many as you want. It depends on how many colors you want to see in your jars. You've got, but it is a pepper, traditional old-fashioned pepper and cucumber. I actually see something in there I don't want. I don't want that top in there. Get that out. Here we go. And so it just depends on how many colors you want to have in your jars, how many you use. But honestly, these were just so beautiful. I could not get over it, and they're supposed to be sweet. So I'm hoping the sweetness of the bell peppers and the sourness of the apple cider along with all of our spices is going to be a really nice mix, because I haven't used those peppers before, but I don't think there's going to be any real change in the flavor. Usually I just use a traditional pepper that we get out of the garden. But, all right, I'm going to start working on this. Okay, so now that that's all been mixed together, we're going to add in, we're going to stir in our jalapeno and our onions. Yep. You have a lovely relish. Let that sit there. So like I said, this is 2 seeded jalapenos. And they're from the garden too. Cha-cha-cha.
Don't rub your eyes after you deal with jalapenos.
And then 1 full red onion. And then if you'll stir that up.
Gotcha.
Now I've taken my mason jars. This time of the year, I want to just let you know that if you're into gardening and you're into canning anything at all, or making jellies, jams, or whatever, go get your jars now, early summer. Get them now and have them in your cupboard, because as you are making things and bringing things in from the garden, you're going to need flats of them. And in my opinion, you can never have too many, because you'll only have to go back and buy your lids and your screw tops to redo them, especially if you're going to be canning them. But what we've done is these have been sterilized and now they're ready to go. And you'll want to do that. Just stick them in a pot of boiling water and use your tongs, carefully pull them out, let them dry, and then they're good. But if you're going to do them for the canning that we would do traditionally, where we're actually going to have them shelf stable, they have to go back in a water bath canning. And then for that, guys, you can go back to other episodes from last year, or you can just check your ball book, because for altitudes and everything in Houston, it's different. Everywhere you live in the country, it's going to be different. Sometimes it's 10 minutes, and sometimes you need to have a water bath that's 15 minutes. So you need to check that for safety, for your own family safety. But, okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually get a scooper, because I think that that's going to be the easiest thing to do. And I'm going to scoop this into the jars. And since we're not having to worry about, normally you wouldn't want to get the stuff wet. Whenever you're making it, you don't want to have it be wet on your lids, because it helps. It messes up your seal.
Yeah.
But because these are going to be in the refrigerator, it ain't going to matter. We can just wipe them down when we get done. So you're going to fill your jars. Those are gorgeous. And what we're doing next is we're going to pour your, you do want a little bit of a head. They call it a head. You want like a head space of about 1/4 of an inch, so that, when it's in there and it's going to expand a little bit, it's not going to like overflow, right? And I'm actually looking at this. I'm going to actually leave this just like this is on this first run. This is not my normal run for what I would do, but I want to leave it just like that without the actual spices in it, because this is just a fresh relish. Okay. That would be really delicious to have like on a sandwich. So I'm going to actually tap this up and stick this in the refrigerator just like it is. I think this would be great actually mushed into an avocado. This would really be delicious. So I'm going to leave that there. Now for this, what I want to do, so that we don't have the liquid and stuff in here, we need to be able to get the liquid into the cucumber relish that we have, that we've just made on the stove, to preserve it more, make it more like a pickle, is I want to strain some of this into one of these right here. Okay. So we've got more of the pepper and less of the liquid from the actual cucumber. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to take this direction. But you see how I just turned one recipe into two completely different things. And that's what I just love to be able to do. Because what happens with Brian, is Brian gets sick of the same stuff. And that's why we were using all those collards, all these different directions, because he finally looked at me and said, no more cabbage and no more collards. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, there's no more. I can't eat anymore. I can't eat anymore. So I've been really working hard to try to figure out new ways to do things that would be fresh and use the garden the way it's supposed to be, right? And not have anything go to waste. And so this is now properly strained out just with the actual peppers and jalapenos, onions, and cucumbers. And then what we're going to do, Carl, is we're going to actually pour over this what you've made on our stove, which is our pickling solution with all the coriander and all the mustard seeds and vinegar and all that. And that's what's going to make it turn into a relish that's pickled. Both are relishes, but one's just not got anything in it at all, just all natural. And so all you do is just scoop this in. This is so pretty. It looks like Christmas with the red and the green and a little bit of that orangey gold color. So fresh. I'm going to send you home with some of this, and maybe you might try it on the food truck. You could do like a limited edition burger al fresco with, like, I don't know, a fried green tomato and some relish.
There you go.
You know, you're going to be picking from the garden, and there's 62 tomato plants full of tomatoes out there.
Right.
So you're going to have a lot of things.
Need to remember that.
You're going to have a lot of things that you're going to have to be making from the garden, because I don't want it to go to waste. So that's what you end up with there. So you have a dry, let's call it a dry. This is wet, this is dry, with no cucumber juice in there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to pour, and I think what I'd like to do is I'm going to do it, even though I just told you I usually leave those seeds, I think I'm going to do it that way, because that's going to be easy.
If we can do this without making a mess.
Yeah. Pour that liquid in, and the headspace needs to be, there you go, stop. Let it settle for a second. Okay, do some more, just a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I'm gonna dump that back in there. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So guys, the liquid is in there. It's warm. If it's too warm, leave it out on your counter for a little bit, like maybe an hour or two, so that it doesn't have hot glass going into the refrigerator. And then just put your seal on it and stick it, like I said, in. Oh, one more thing I want to tell you. There's these granules that you can buy. This is not necessary, but I like to do it. So there are these granules that you can buy when you go to look for your canning products. Mm-hmm. And these granules keep your cucumbers crisper. It's made by the same folks that make your jars, and it's in the jar section. And I have really loved using this, because just a sprinkle, you're just like that much, maybe a little bit more.
What is it?
On top of your cucumber relish.
Interesting.
Will keep it, you don't stir it into it, you leave it on the top, and it keeps it crisper longer. And so it's called pickling granules for crisp pickles, I guess. But yeah, I found out about it last year, and I started using it, and it really works, and I like it. So there's the relish that has the liquid in it, and there's our traditional without any, with all the cucumber juices in it. They look the same. I'll probably need to put a little label so we know which is which.
Right. And you said for this to really, for you to get the pickled taste out of this, how long?
I usually put it in the refrigerator for about 3 days to 5 days, and I taste it. And if it's right where I want it, then I can use it. Truthfully, it can stay in the refrigerator for 3 months.
Right.
It never lasts for a week and a half here. That's the problem. This is one of those recipes, guys, which is why I really wanted to early on in the summer show you how to do it once the cucumber started slamming me every single day, because last year I didn't do that. This is one of those recipes that is fresh, it's healthy, it's wonderful. The kids love it, the husbands love it, grandmommy loves it. It's really it's something you can add to everything, even eggs in the morning. I mean, like, there's so much you can do with this that's so good. And it lasts for a long time if your family's...
It's a barbecue sandwich.
Yeah, I mean, like, but the thing is that if it's something, if you're in the refrigerator for 3 months, it's still going to be good. It will be more pickly.
Right.
The longer it's there, the more it will be, because it's had a long time to sit in your apple cider and all your spices and stuff. So, anyway. Well, listen, guys, I hope you found some value in this. If you did, do us a favor, like and share. Don't forget to ring that bell. Carl, show me how to ring that bell.
There we go.
And we'll drop you another episode soon on our channel. And listen, we're going to be busy getting ready for this relish. We've got more we've got to can up. But we will see you soon. Take care.